My idea of how the planet should really run in a perfect kind of ecosystem and cycle would be that we do actually consume meat and we do consume vegetables. What's happened is that we've become greedy as a world and constantly want to consume more and more. What's happened is people have had to become vegetarian and had to become vegan to compensate for the people that are over consuming. Whereas what I think, this is sort of my theory and what I want to investigate, is that we could actually be sustainable by living more locally. I'm on a mission to discover how easy it is to live off the local land. I'll be exploring the positive benefits and negative impacts of choosing this lifestyle. To do this, I've chosen to travel around Dorset and speak to local growers, suppliers and restaurants. I want to hear the facts from the people at the forefront of local. The route of my investigation starts with the vegetables at Berryhill Farm. I'm interested why I should choose Jim's produce over the supermarkets.
The taste of our produce is far superior than mass-produced, industrially farmed food.
Would you like an opportunity to say at our local Waitrose in Winton to go, look, here's from Berryhill Farm, this is the local produce, why don't you guys buy that as opposed to the stuff that's come from here, there and everywhere?
It would be a good thing, but it would be a premium price. So much of what we do is far more labour intensive. Our biggest problem is scale. We are small. This is a small business. Most people like us have gone out of business. I'm mad enough to keep going. It's financially poor, but that's farming generally all over. We won't be millionaires. Far from it.
Part of Jim's business is delivering vegetable boxes around the local area.
The most important thing is for me to survive. And it's a struggle to do that. I'm not big enough to supply a supermarket, not that I'd want to do that.
Say in an ideal world, how many of these could you be doing a night?
In reality, what could I do? Physically, I reckon I could do about 125 a week.
It seems to be difficult in terms of surviving as a business and then what you can actually achieve in terms of manual labour. The two don't seem to marry up too well.
No, they don't. No, they're on minimum wage and they don't believe it, that they earn twice as much as me an hour. But I do it because I love it. It's a way of life. It's been a way of life, you know.
Would you like to get into more of the local restaurants?
Probably, yeah. But
Yes, good business.
Farmers markets are going backwards. They're not the thing they once were.
I feel like though the restaurants are probably going up for the suppliers like yourself, because I think businesses are becoming a lot more aware of doing the right thing by, you know, sustainability, local economy. So I think that would probably be quite a, you know, they love that reputation, don't they?
They do, but a lot of them don't want to pay, even though I'm not much different than what they pay of the wholesaler.
What restaurants do you supply to?
The Pig at Studland.
Oh, we're going there tomorrow, funnily enough. It's funny, the sort of local world all ties in together quite nicely.
Yes, well, it was good that I got in with them. It promotes me very well, makes me look very good at such a upmarket establishment.
Yeah, very fancy, lovely. Thanks very much for your time.
No,
It's been really lovely to meet you and keep doing what you're doing.
I don't intend to give up.
I was encouraged after speaking to Jim to go and see his vegetables being enjoyed. It was important to know that taste of locally grown could be acknowledged, so who better to speak to than a chef? I met with James, one of the chefs at their hotel, by where they keep their livestock on site. So can you just tell us a little bit about the Pig on the Beach, their approach to sustainable produce?
We have our own livestock here. We've got our own sheep, which we lamb each year. We've got our own pigs, own chickens, quail. Quail and chickens we just use for the eggs, for breakfast and for salads. But as well as that, we have our own kitchen garden, and what we can't produce on site, we try and get everything within 25 miles.
Okay, wow.
And sustainable. So we try to use local farms, local cheese producers, local dairy producers.
Amazing.
As much as we can, as local as possible.
What do you think the benefits are of having like produce on site? Do you think there's a taste advantage in that?
Definitely, especially with the pigs. They grow a lot slower,
Right.
so a lot more fat, which isn't everybody's cup of tea, but with that you get awesome flavour.
So what produce do you get from Jim, the farmer?
At the moment, root vegetables, so get celeriac, Swedes, we get brassicas, so red Russian kale, so much flavour. You can't just pluck a dish out of thin air with fruit from abroad or using exotic ingredients. You have to really use and taste what's local, what's good, listen to your gardener, forager, and then design a menu around that. So it's a lot more challenging, but it's rewarding.
It seems like you've got a really good thing going here, and that it's coming from a right place. You're doing it because everyone here wants to be a part of something like that. After getting to know the animals, I wanted to see where the vegetables and herbs were grown on site. For me, it was about getting the immersive local experience at the pig. I decided to speak to Andrew, the kitchen gardener, to tell us more about their local philosophy.
Yeah, it's still early on yet, it's got a long way to go.
So, am I correct in thinking the restaurant is literally just there? So,
Yes,
I mean,
it is.
we are.
The restaurant is the windows you can see just
So we
there.
are, honestly, I mean, you can't get more ultra local than that, really, can
No.
you? I mean, that is incredible. So you'll harvest these in the morning,
Yeah.
is that right? And then the chefs are cooking with them and they're on the dishes.
Yeah, it's on the dishes by lunchtime. There's very little wastage out of the garden at all. Any green leaf or anything vegetable-wise in here that we can't use in there, we give to the pigs or the chickens. And also anything extra or anything else, we have a large composting area out the back that we turn it back into compost and it goes back into the ground again. If everybody does just little bits, no matter how small, it's definitely going to make life easier for everyone.
Yeah. I went to meet Mark, a local entrepreneur who's proving that eating local produce can be affordable down at his beachfront restaurant. I wanted to find out how he was marketing local as a must-have current trend. I just wanted to know a little bit about why you like the idea of local produce.
So it's a really complicated subject. So we don't try and lecture people about it. We don't say you must do this. You know, the whole greenwashing thing. We just say we believe, you know, that following the seasons makes sense. And I actually believe that it's kind of inbuilt deep into our DNA.
There needs to be a little bit more of an element of understanding and education to do the right thing, not just by the environment, but by the people and by the economy. And I think that for me is quite important, like supporting a local economy.
Yeah, I think it has to come down to knowledge on the topics, and it's really complicated. Quite often you wish you hadn't opened the lid and started looking into it, because things are huge issues. You want to be buying as close as you can to the source. You want to get to the local farmers, to the local fishmongers, to the local egg providers. You know, in the winter, British produce is not great. You know, you don't get, you know, tomatoes, and you don't get a massive diversity. You get lots of root vegetables, lots of under the ground vegetables, and it would be a bit dull. We'll try and buy from the guys that go out from Mudderford. So Simon Hutchins and his boats go out, and by definition, they're in little boats, so they can't overfish.
Yeah,
Because they've got a limited amount they can catch. It's challenging for us, particularly certain times of the year. If it's really rough at sea for 4 or 5 days, and the boats can't get out, people still want to come into your restaurant and eat some fish.
Eat food. Yeah.
So then you need to look further afield, and you know, if you can imagine logistically for the supermarkets to be able to do that. But yeah, you know, the trouble is human beings are lazy, so we default to the big chain supermarkets to go and buy our stuff.
Yeah, that's what I find extraordinary, that, you know, for yourselves, like you said, you can go and speak to your fisherman who supplies the restaurants and stuff, work out, you know, where can the average everyday consumer go to get them when they just want to cook for their families.
Instead of trying to worry about doing it at home, just go out and eat in your local restaurants where they've done the research for you, they've nailed it.
There's the plug.
Yeah.
So the other thing I was quite interested to hear a bit more about is obviously your urban farm.
Yes, so it's very much about growing herbs and vegetables and stuff, and actually it's more about growing stuff that's a bit interesting. We grow courgettes, and courgette flowers are edible. So you get these amazing, beautiful courgettes with great big flowers, and you can stuff them and stuff. And then we'll grow, you know, different kind of mints. So we wanted to work out what's the best mint in a mojito. So we grew 10 different ones, and then we muddle them up and mix them in these mojitos and try and get the best flavour. It's good fun. We learn a load of stuff. We're not self-sufficient, but it's interesting, and you get to taste amazing things. Restaurants are great. They're challenging industry to work in, but fundamentally you're permanently surrounded by food and booze, which is nice.
Yeah. After speaking to Mark, I got in touch with Simon Hutchins, the local fishmonger. I decided to go and speak to one of his fishermen, Pete, to hear about the sustainability of his methods down at Mudderford Quay.
Well, we're a mixed fishery port, so we chop and change as the year goes on, so we're never persecuting one species.
And your actual methods of fishing, are they quite sustainable?
Oh,
Like-
crumbs, yeah. I mean, I've only got a very small static fishing boat, which means I only haul pots, nets and traps, and
Yeah.
I do rod and line, so I don't tow any gear. My carbon footprint, so to speak, is minimal. I've only got 2 very small engines on the back of my boat, and when I'm actually fishing I only use one because we just poodle around. So my fuel bill is not negligible, but it's as small as you'll possibly get. I probably only burn in the region of about 15 to 20 litres a day, which for doing a full day's work is very good.
Very good, yeah.
But we have 0 impact on the seabed because
That's
everything's
amazing.
static, nothing's being dragged, and anything that we catch, if it's undersized, we return alive to swim away, and it's landed nearly every day, so the freshness
That's
is all
so
there.
amazing.
And when I take fish into Simon's, I mean, sometimes they're still flapping around in the box when I'm weighing them in. So obviously when he has chefs or people come in, which does happen, they'll come in to buy fish, and I'm in there with my daily catch sorting it all out. Of course they think it's absolutely wonderful because
Yeah.
they can see how fresh it is because it's still flapping around.
I've had some serious food for thought, and it felt appropriate to mull it over a glass of local wine, and so I headed to Langham Wine Estate.
So can you just tell us a bit about why you decided to start a winery in the UK, and what sort of advantages there are in terms of this kind of sustainability side of things? If you
On the sustainability side, is something that makes us quite unique amongst other English wineries is that we produce all the grapes here and we make all the wine out of only our own grapes here on site, which there are very few people in this country doing that. A lot of people make wine, but they'll buy the grapes in from elsewhere, or they will produce grapes and then send them off to have wine made elsewhere. Whereas here, when you drink the wine here, it has done 0 food miles,
Yeah.
which is quite
Amazing.
unique anywhere in the world. I was keen to develop a business, primarily agricultural business, but add value to that agricultural produce and do something free of subsidies. There's a very big difference in English wine and
Yeah,
British wine.
please expand.
British wine can be made from imported grape juice.
Right, okay.
Hence you get British sherry. It's actually the grapes and the juice come from Spain, but
Okay.
it's British sherry. English wine the grapes have to be produced in this country and the wine is
Right,
made in this
okay.
country. And we're producing English wine. Yeah, it is quite common. People come along and say, you're producing an English wine and you're selling it at £20 plus a bottle. You know, isn't this a bit cheeky? Well, no, it's not cheeky. It costs that much to produce.
Yeah.
We have to charge those sort of prices. But we are producing something that stands up on the world stage as a high quality sparkling wine. So I say to those people, come and taste our wines.
I have thoroughly enjoyed exploring the possibility of living off local produce. When I began this journey, my motivation stemmed from the environmental impacts that food production had already caused our planet. I soon learned that there were a lot more factors to consider. I thought by shifting where we source our food, we'd be able to tackle these issues. However, it became apparent we needed a shift in our attitude first. We now have to decide whether the cost to our planet is worthy of the cost of choosing local.